My name is Victor Furman. Some call me The Voice. I've always been fascinated with human nature, spirituality, science, and the crossroads at which they meet. Join me now and we will explore these topics and so much more with fascinating guests, authors, and experts who will guide us to Destination Unlimited. Is there an interconnectedness of the physical world with spirituality? How may we receive the divine messages that surround us and recognize our own unique connection to the universe? My guest this week on Destination Unlimited, Anne Bolinger-McQuade, says we can do this by recognizing our everyday oracles. Through workshops and personal experiences, she empowers individuals to trust their intuition and discover the wisdom within. Her website is everydayextradimensions.com, and she joins me this week to share her path and book, Everyday Oracles, Decoding the Divine Messages That Are All Around Us. Please join me in welcoming to Destination Unlimited, Anne Bolinger-McQuade. Welcome, Anne.
Well, thank you so much. It's so great to be here.
Thank you. It's wonderful that you're joining us. And please share with us your early path, your Native American roots, and how it shaped your understanding of what you share in Everyday Oracles.
Well, thank you. It's just my pleasure. I have a Native American ancestry. I was raised with the idea that everything is connected in the Native American scenario. We believe that the rocks and the trees and the fire, everything's all connected. And so I've always seen images in everything. My father spoke in metaphors and emerging shapes. So it's a part of my natural way of being. I think so many of us have seen images in clouds, no matter what our ancestry is. But this was just ingrained to me as an important part of the way that the universe is interacting with us. So I've always seen the world as interacting and just been very, very comfortable in it. So because of that, I had this sense that we're all safer than we realize because I could just feel it. I could feel the support around me. No matter where I was, I felt this non-visible support around me that was made visible through every form, unexpected forms that were coming to me all the time. So I've just always had that good, secure feeling that we're all safer than we realize. As time went on, I realized that it connected to my realization that there is no death, there is a change of dimension. So in my early work, I always just thought of that. And I'm going to make a quantum leap forward to when it was validated. I would say we're all safer than we realize. When my husband passed in 2014, he edited one word right there. We're all ultimately safer than we realize. So from the position of being not in his body anymore, but being communicating all the time with me on an everyday, momentary basis, I have that validation that we are all ultimately safer than we realize. So I kind of gave you some of my background and the spirit of the work and what really fuels the energy of the spirit forward.
What inspired you to write Everyday Oracles?
Well, I had been paying attention to these signs and symbols, and I always wanted to write a book. And so I was going to write a book, and I imagined early on that it would just be great quotes from other people. But all of a sudden, at one point, I had an intuition that told me to get a mammogram. And I listened because I do listen to my intuition. I got a mammogram. It was minuscule when I went and had it diagnosed, and I realized now something else was going on. This was now a sign, a sign to me that the universe really was protecting me. So that was a focal point right there where I went, okay, this is what I have to share. I have to share that the universe will step in and give you this kind of information that can save your life. So it was actually a life-saving intuition that inspired this book. I'm a documenter. I'm a researcher. I'm fascinated with how things work. So I set my mind to documenting, everything I could get my hands on.
And how do you define personal oracles?
Okay, well, look, I have the book right here because I wanted to be sure and quote it precisely from the book, because it took me a while to actually come up with what was actually going on. This is the dynamic that is going on in the universe. It is a need followed by a delivery system. And there's your message, and that's a personal oracle. So they can come in the form of mirrors, conduits, synchronicities, symbols, signs, all kinds of things. But there's always a need. It follows a need. A personal oracle will respond to a need. Then it will take whatever the delivery system is that's close by, and it will use that. Could be a bird, could be words on a book, could be something that you see on the television. Could be I love this. I had never heard of credence till I started to investigate things a little further. Credence is a word overheard from somewhere. So they come, a fun way to put it would be, they come out of left field. They come from everywhere. Tune in and pay attention.
And most of our listeners are familiar with the word oracle in reference to the oracles of Delphi in ancient Greek tradition.
Right.
Tell us a little bit more. What is an oracle?
Well, an oracle is a message. The oracle at Delphi was a place where you went and you got this message that came from a higher power that could give you what you couldn't get for yourself. An oracle is a message that comes directly from the universe, the way we're using the oracle. An oracle is a message that is coming directly from the energy of the universe to each individual, and that's why I call them personal oracles. So personal oracle is coming directly from the extra dimensions of the universe to the individual.
Now, you share that these messages are all around us. Why don't most people notice them?
Oh, wow. Boy, what a question, and what a good question, because, well, first off, even before technology, but let's just look at technology for a minute. People are on their phones. People are overstressed. We've got all of this going on around us. And so, to start doing it, you kind of need to tune in. Well, first off, I grew up knowing they were there. So it was easy for me because I knew they were there. When we don't know they're there, we can come across all kinds of things like, well, now that one word that I hear a lot is woo-woo. Oh, that's woo-woo. Or that, and people might be afraid to attach themselves to it because it is too strange sounding. And I'm going to put something in here that I love to do. I think if we start to, all of us, when we're new at it, or even if we're not, if we're going to create our own body of evidence, if you see a cloud and the cloud makes you think of something, stop and look at that cloud and see if that cloud has a message for you. And if it does, like the one that I saw that was really profound, one time that I was looking to the sky to see if I should continue what I was doing. And I looked in the sky and there was a thumbs up. And I do have that available in the work. It's in the book. But there it was. And I took a photograph of it. And that was so clear that that's giving me a thumbs up. Continue with what you're doing. So I think if whatever form we see it, if you see something on the television, if you hear someone say something and you go, wait a minute, I need to write down that is important to me. Write it down, put it someplace where you'll run across it later, and you start to build this body of evidence that shows you what's going on all the time, and do what's comfortable. Each person, find whatever is most comfortable to you, to see if it happens to be on television, if it happens to be a synchronicity, if it happens to be a song on the radio.
You had mentioned, you had alluded to the fact that everyone is running around with their cell phones nowadays in the last 20 years or so. Do those instruments, cell phones, and all of the increased wired technology that we have, all of the signals that are being transmitted around the country and around the world, do they interfere with our ability to receive?
Wow. Yes, 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 and yes. Yes, on the concentration level, which is what I was talking about, as a focus point. We're so focused that we're not seeing things. If we're getting in, now I'm going to get real quickly. This is my husband's. He's a very technical person. When he was in his body, his business was very technical. He would understand how, yes, technology can be jammed. So on two levels that I'm looking at, or talking about right now, yes, on just our concentration level, and yes, on frequencies becoming jammed. Frequencies, and I'm a newbie in this, but I do understand frequencies. I think a lot of us are aware of feeling frequencies in our bodies. We're aware that our television frequency comes on things that are measurable. So we've got all of these different frequencies, and some of them interact negatively with each other. And what my experience has been is that on these frequencies that are not a concentration, I'm not talking about that one now, I'm talking about a measurable frequency in technology. Those I do know jam. I've been involved in that, where something will just, the frequencies do not interconnect.
Let's start talking about some of the ways the oracles manifest. You sort of alluded to a couple of these, but let's go down the road on these. How may mirrors and reflections act as personal oracles?
Well, I think that mirrors, of course, will just mirror something back to you. Again, it will show you, it's like walking across a mirror and you see yourself reflected in it. That's the way that I'm using the term mirror. So if you see something that reflects what's going on in your life back to you, that is whatever it is, not a mirror. I'm not talking about the mirror that you are looking at as you are combing your hair or brushing your teeth. I'm talking about how a rock might mirror something. A rock might have a shape. The shape might be the shape of a heart. The shape might be the shape of an arrow, say loving or defensive, say an arrow, but all kinds of different things can mirror. There's something in the book that I really like that mirrored an idea back to me, a framework of my personality back, and it's in Taos, so this is also in the book. And as we would drive from Angel Fire to Taos, up high, and if my husband was driving, I'd look up and I could see this boulder, and it was shaped like a turtle to me, to my eyes. Well, that mirrored to me I'm Aries, and I've got this need to hurry. And a turtle is the opposite. So every time we would pass that, I would look up to it because to me, it was a mirror, and it was saying, Anne, you can slow it down. You can slow it down. So that's a very personal one. Somebody else would have something else that might mirror a behavior back to them. It could mirror a fond memory back to them. So things can be mirrored back to us in all forms imaginable.
That's beautiful. Thank you for sharing that.
Well,
What are what you refer to as conduits?
Well, a conduit to me would be something. Well, conduit clearly is something that is carrying the energy for it. So clouds, I'm going to go back to clouds because they're one of my safe place, but clouds can be conduits. And I'm going to go to chapter 8 in the book, which is about afterlife things. And I have a Native American mentor. His name is Richard Deertrack, and he's not in his body anymore. His body shut down in '08. And I have a specific time in Taos when I was standing in the back, and I saw this cloud, and I saw the profile of Richard Deertrack's image, very Native American profile, of course, and I immediately knew because of the intuition and all, and that connection that we all have it. So I knew it was Richard Deertrack. I tuned in, and he said to me in my mind, it's in my mind, he said, could you get something to my wife for me? And rather than go into the whole story, I will just say, I, of course, said yes. And I had not met his wife, but I knew where she was. I found out where she was. She was in the town. I managed to get it to her. And Deertrack was using the cloud as a conduit to get information to me that I could take something to his wife. that he wanted her to have.
And what personal oracles may we find in dreams?
Oh, wow. Well, personal oracles, dreams are just a whole nother dimension, aren't they, for all of us? So I think that the way that dreams seem to work, they'll give us information on a kind of a coded message to us that is something maybe we wouldn't hear if we were in the waking world with everything going on. But we'll have, again, I keep going back. I apologize. This is a bit where I'm magnetically drawn today. I'm drawn into dreams, of course, are personal oracle connections to people who have passed. They also can be something that is maybe a warning or something that you need to deal with. And you can find in that dream, I think we probably always had things like this, that something that was bothering us and we just don't even know how to handle it. And you have a dream and you wake up and you've got an idea of how to handle it. That would be a personal oracle that would come through a dream.
I've had lucid dreams most of my life, and a few months ago,
Really?
I had one that was such a moving message that I actually woke up in tears. And it kind of
Oh,
reflected to me what I've been doing for others in life. I had a dream that I was attending an angel academy, an actual academy
oh,
where angels receive training and their assignments and so on.
yeah.
And it was a beautiful temple with a series of 18 tables in a U shaped inside the temple. And we
Oh,
were
wow.
instructed to go from table to table, make eye contact with the angelic teacher at that table, and when they nodded their head, move on to the next. And we went through this process. We went through all the tables, and then we were directed to go back to the main table in the front. And there we received our angelic name and our assignment. And the name that I was given was Aviel, which in Hebrew means God is my Father. And my assignment was to be an angel to other angels. And I realized when I woke up in tears that I've been doing that most of my life.
Oh my, that is magnificent. Oh, that is so extra dimensional. What a gift to you to have that affirmation in such a
Absolutely.
explicit dream.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful for all the dreams that I have, but that one in particular, I reached the age of 72 this year, and that one in particular reflected some of the things that I've been doing in my life to help others, and I'm grateful for that reminder. And in my way, I saw it as a form of gratitude expressed to me for what I've been doing and a reaffirmation that I'm doing the right thing. So I'm grateful for it.
Well, I mean, doesn't that feel like such an affirmation? And I have a friend who is a medium, and I don't know, I want to say this right now, but that is so profound and so otherworldly that her name is Tina Powers, and she's well known. Anyway, she says, you can't make these things up. You
Yeah.
know, when you have an encounter like what you had in that dream, it is such a gift beyond all measure. It's profound. Congratulations again.
Thank you. Thank you. What is the connection? You alluded to this, but let's talk a little deeper about it. What is the connection
Good.
between nature and personal oracles?
Oh well, if you could take a walk in, for me, it's so many things. I'm trying to figure where to start. First, nature is a place where we can quiet our mind and tune in, which is kind of the first step. So if you're walking in nature, if you're in a place where you can be quiet, I'm not talking about, I don't know if you're in New York City or some of the people that are listening probably are, I'm talking about when we can get to a quiet place in nature and where you can look at trees and you can look at the sky and you can tune into nature. So nature is, that it's rich in communicators. Like if I'm trying now, I've never done this before, but trying to connect it to some sort of a technical device that does connect phones and all. Like, I'm way out here today, but this feels so real. A tree is a connector device that will connect us right to the source, like you're dialing a number to connect to a certain location. Or so if you look at, let's look at them that way. Let's look at trees that way, and look at a tree. And if you, I think I'm into spontaneous personal oracles, but I'm also into asking for what we need or want, and then waiting to see how that comes to us. But here's a fun thing that for all of us to do, me too. Go up to whatever you're drawn to. First off, maybe see if there is a sense of connection. You're walking along, just wait until you feel some sort of a connection, whatever it is. You remember when they used to talk about tree huggers? Say it was that kind of thing and you wanted to go hug a tree, maybe not that strong, but something that you feel connected, maybe a rock. Maybe you glance down and you go, oh my, that rock is in the shape of a heart. Wait, what does that mean? What does that mean to me right now? So nature is going to have all kinds of, let's call them conduits right now, conduits for delivering these messages for us. And so when we, and you didn't ask for this, but here I'm going to offer it anyway, when we need to get out of this wacky world that we're in right now and find a sense of grounding in ourselves at a place where we know we're really okay, go out to whatever that place is. Maybe your lake, or maybe look out at the water. See if the water will speak in some, either a shape or a ripple, or maybe it will quiet the mind enough that something will come into your mind that you'd have been, everything around you would have been too noisy to hear. So nature can help us tune in. When we tune in, it can give us messages.
I'm an old tree hugger from way back, so no offense taken.
Oh,
I love hugging trees.
Me too. Oh, yeah.
And also sitting with my spine, my back against the tree, with my spine making contact with the tree, and the whole process also of earthing, of taking our shoes off and walking barefoot in the woods. In gardens and any place where we can connect to the earth and have that sense of connection, that sense of cleansing, which the earth will gift us with, and any message that may come through when we're doing that. My guest, Anne Bolinger-McQuade, her book, Everyday Oracles, Decoding the Divine Messages That Are All Around Us. And please share with our listeners where they can get your book and find out more about you and your website.
Well, I'd love to start with the website. The address of the website is everydayextradimensions.com. We have, that's a new one. We have an older one. I'm going to give you two here. In case any of you like to go into the old school stuff, we have another one that's still there that has been around for 20 years. The one that's current, that has been redone, that is new, is everydayextradimensions.com. The one that you can dig into and look at it as it was and is still being upgraded is oraclesinthesky.com. Those are two fun places. One will take you into, depending on what you're attracted to, old school things. Check in the original one of the Oracles in the Sky. If you want to be updated, which this one is very updated, the everydayextradimensions.com. And we are available on social media, and you can get the social media addresses on the new website.
And your books?
The book is Everyday Oracles, Decoding the Divine Messages That Are All Around Us. We have two more books that are coming out. I don't have them out yet. I'll be eager to share the dates with you. One of them is Everyday Life After Life, documents from an engineer and his lover navigating uncharted territory. That isn't out yet, but I'll let people know as soon as it is. And then we have Oracle cards. A lot of you, if you're listening to this, I'll bet you know about Oracle cards. And so we have, over the years, I took a lot of photos and of clouds. These are all clouds. It's Cloud Speak, everyday. It's all everyday. Everyday Cloud Speak. Personal Oracle book and cards, and it will come with, when it's available, a book and a set of cards to look at. And every image I took, and then they're very spirit inspired, because we wrote down what the spiritual connection is to it. We also leave one side blank for the person to see what they see. So those are not out yet, but rest assured we'll get the word out as fast as they are available.
And Everyday Oracles, I assume, are available through Amazon and Barnes & Noble and wherever wonderful books are sold.
It is, and on our website, I think that he's our web guy. He's been with us for that website. If you look at that, the old one, it's been up 20 years. But he's got, I think, links that you can actually get on our site and order them from that. And yes, it's very easy to get a hold of from Amazon, and I really reckon it's not always as available through bookstores because it's harder for bookstores to stock all the books that are available. But most of the suppliers, you're going to be able to get them through those too. So Amazon or Goodreads, all kinds of different suppliers.
Wonderful. And we'll be back with more of Anne after these words on the Om Times Radio Network.
The cutting edge of conscious radio. Om Times Radio. IOM FM. Om Times Magazine is one of the leading online content providers of positivity, wellness, and personal empowerment. A philanthropic organization, their net proceeds are funneled to support worldwide charity initiatives via Humanity Healing International. Through their commitment to creating community and providing conscious content, they aspire to uplift humanity on a global scale. Om Times, co-creating a more conscious lifestyle.
Back on Destination Unlimited, my guest this week, Anne Bolinger-McQuade, her book, Everyday Oracles, Decoding the Divine Messages That Are All Around Us. And there's a First Nations proverb that says, listen to the wind, it talks. Listen to the silence, it speaks. Listen to your heart, it knows. What messages may we receive from the wind?
Oh my! Well, first off, I'm bedazzled in a beautiful way by what you just described. I haven't heard that before, and let me wrap my mind around what we could hear from the wind. What I could hear from the wind, if I don't know that I have connected to the wind that way. So what I would immediately go, I could feel this soft breeze that comes and is soothing. I could feel the ferocity of the wind that we're in the desert here. We're in Arizona. We also are in New Mexico. There's a ferocity to the wind that is. There is. I don't know that I have ever. I want to look deeper to see what I could get from the wind. Can you quote that for me one more time and tell me? What does it say in that? Give me a clue about the wind does what?
It talks. The wind talks. Listen to the wind. It talks.
I want to hear a voice. I don't know. I haven't heard the voice of the wind. I will listen for the voice of the wind. It will talk to me in other ways rather than just a voice. But it tells me, I'm going deeper now, okay, as you can see. It'll tell me I'm safe because I can feel a gentleness. It will tell me that I might need to be cautious just based on the wind velocity that I was talking about. Those are things that I would look to the wind to give me, but now I'm going to look for more because that's just one place I haven't really looked. I did, if you have any children around, there was a movie, I think it was Native American movie. I'm blocking her name right now, the Native American little girl who was, anyways, her grandmother spoke to her in the wind. Her mother would have leaves this was all animated, but it was based on some sort of a storyline. And the wind would circle the leaves around her, and she would feel her mother in that. So that's something that I have not experienced it before, it makes sense to me that when we are not in our body anymore and we are looking for ways that we could interact with people that we love, that we want to, that we could use the wind. And wait, it does come back to me. We have 175 stories in this book that we're talking about today. I just remember one of them that is Soraya. Actually, I'm sorry that didn't come to mind first, but Soraya in England, she felt her mother's hug in the wind. She felt she was missing her mother horribly, and she felt her mother like surrounding her. with a hug in the wind. So those are the things that come to my mind. Waves
I'm
of
a
wind.
I'm an animal speaker. I talk to squirrels. I talk to birds. I talk to every animal I meet in nature. What messages may we receive from animals?
You're talking to, I'm laughing because you're a tree hugger and you're talking to animals, and I do the same thing. And the messages, okay, I'm going to go a whole lot deeper right now on the messages we can receive from animals, because we are talked a little bit about at the intermission about animals playing an important part in our lives that are our animals. The telepathy that goes on between a human and their four-legged animal. I hate to use the word pet, but that animal that we have that is so profoundly sacred to us. They're telepathic messages that actually go through. Now we're all going to, all of us who have animals, whether we think of that messaging that we get through animals, you pick it up anyway, because they've got a way to tell you they want to go to the bathroom. They have a way that if you're feeling upset, more animals not that I know of will come and comfort you, be close to you. There is an interconnection that is beyond speech that goes into the thought process. So I was working on another project at one point, and it was something, a term I've never heard, but I'm using, let's all use it if we want to, thought speak. Between animals, thought speak. There's a thought speak. Doesn't need to sound as trendy or whatever as telepathy, but thought speak between the trees, between the animals. And if we just listen or look in their eyes, if you look in an animal's eyes, I had an experience with an animal at a zoo one time, and I was with other people, and it was the afternoon, and I looked down at this animal, and I don't know what we said to each other, but we locked eyes for a very long time in the most beautiful way, and we saw each other, and we saw deep into each other. So I think there are different levels of connection that we can all have with animals, be the animals that we know are an animal just like that we see for a moment, and we really see each other. Like sometimes, if you ever walked along, all of you I'm talking to, if you ever walked along the street and you catch somebody's eye and all of a sudden you see each other, you really see each other? You really see each other. They're not just a person, and it's a moment, but you really recognize
Absolutely.
the essence of that person. We can do that with animals too. So.
I've actually read a couple of articles recently of interactions between humans and sharks and dolphins, where a shark or a dolphin approached a human and had an expression that the human recognized that somebody else was in trouble. And they followed the shark or the dolphin and found either another shark or another dolphin had been trapped in some type of wire or some type of netting under the water, and released those animals and maintained a friendship with those animals after, the dolphin and the shark. So this ability to recognize that this animal, that this shark or this dolphin is communicating with you, that there's something wrong, that they need your help, and making a friend.
Yes, and this is what so excites me about being alive. All these extra dimensions that are out there, that like what you just described, where when we can tap into them, at first I guess maybe it's the recognizing, oh, that can happen. That's beautiful. When you read it, what you just shared, you see that's kind of inspiring to acknowledge that we all can do these things. And so I love that all these extra dimensions that are out there for us to interact with each other and connect with each other, in whether we're the four-legged, the two-legged, the creepy crawlies, the whatever. I just saw something on television. I'm taking a short step to the side, but I saw something on PBS about insects, and that insects are declining like crazy. And like crazy, that's a real scientific analogy, but the statistical numbers that I don't have at hand on how they're declining, it's something to look at. And when we can see an insect, a six-legged creature maybe, as not, oh, that's just disgusting, I'm wondering if those of us that even want to go in that direction, I'm going to try. I just saw this yesterday. It's fresh in my mind. I just saw this yesterday. I'm going to try to not look at things and be squeamish. I'm not saying I'm going to approach them and pick them up, but to see us all as creatures here being, and try to just be in that space you described with the dolphin and the human. For if there isn't an interaction, slow down enough and focus enough that I'm welcoming it and inviting it.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. Sounds fun, huh?
So we have folks listening to us, and they said, I want to start noticing my personal oracles. What's one easy thing, an easy step that they can do today to start noticing personal oracles?
Intention. Intention. Set your intention. I did this. I thought of this the other day when I was talking to someone, and I'm going to use it again. I'd never even thought about it. So to anybody that's listening, going, okay, imagine yourself. You're at a start line. Here's the start line. Go. So you look at your feet. Look at your feet. Whether you use rock width, whether you step forward with your right or if you step forward with your left, step forward, and as that step goes down, it is intention. So you move forward with intention, and intention triggers, intention.
Your book has an amazing number of personal oracle experiences. Do you have a favorite you'd share with us?
Oh, I have a couple of them. I thought about this a little bit in case you ask that. I guess for right now, because of the timing of this, I would love to share one that is in chapter 8 again, which is the one I'm talking a lot about out of the body experiences. But we just got a new pope. I watched all that. I am not Catholic. I am interdenominational. I don't have, I respect it all. Anyway, I was with my husband and this is in the book in the last chapter. We were in Rome, and I wanted to go to see Pope John Paul. There was going to be a ceremony, and I'd never even been to a Catholic church, but I was very drawn to the man because I felt like his humanitarian way of being. So we go at the time, it was just before 2000. We get there, there's of course warring in the world, and they were checking your backpacks, and we go there, we sit in St. Peter's Square, and we watch the Pope go in his Pope mobile through all the people, and it was just fascinating. I got a real, I'm a love energy, so I'm tuning into this beautiful energy of everybody that is invested in this experience in a positive way. And so I don't understand Latin, and I don't speak another language, shamefully. I just speak English, but I don't understand Latin. And so the Pope at this point is in John Paul is standing at the lectern, and he's talking in Latin. So I'm looking around. Of course, you know me, I'm going to be looking at the sky, and I look up, and there is this image in the sky, and it's this face of this bearded man, and it's precise. And I looked at it, and I watched it, and it's not going anywhere. And it stayed, and I, of course, showed Kenneth, and Kenneth looked up and saw it. And so it lasted 20 minutes at least. And I thought, this was back when film, not my cell phone. I took a photograph with my film camera, and I took a few of them, and I took that, and then I took them of the podium, and they were doing scaffolding on all of St. Peter's because they were cleaning it all and everything, and I take it, and it's there forever, and I feel safe. It feels protected. I'm just really enjoying this thoroughly. Nobody else is looking. I want to jump up on and do something like, hey, look, I didn't. That makes being with me okay, but it's not shameful to be with me. I won't shout in public, oh, look at that. But so anyway, I took all that, and then as time went on, I then started to look up at the front, and I saw a poster up there. And the image on that was exactly the same as what was in the sky. Now, I have pictures of these, of course, because I like to document. And it was Padre Pio. Now, I didn't know. Do you know who Padre Pio is?
Yes, I do.
Was?
Absolutely.
Okay. Well, then And all I had heard about was the, what is it, where the hands bleed?
The stigmata.
The stigmata. So I vaguely had heard of it, but I hadn't paid attention. So here I am, non-Catholic, getting all this information. We have very close friends in Italy. We were going there next, but after we were where we were with some other friends. But I'm looking at that and I'm going, wait a minute, but I'm still don't know what's going on. We get back, we were on a ship. We go back to the ship. I take the film. I have the film developed. They bring it back to me. I turn on CNN. CNN is, instead of talking about the war that's going on in the area, they are talking about Padre Pio and the stigmata and all this other, and how he was being beatified that day. I didn't know what beatified. I understand now that I think I'm correct that beatifying is the step before becoming a saint.
Yes.
So I am at the beatification of poor Saint Padre Pio. Unknowingly, I am the one that saw it and documented it, and now can have shared it. This book came out in 2013. We're celebrating its second decade in being such a great book. But so that book's been around for a while and out there, and I just think the irony of that is not lost on me. That the person that didn't know what I was looking at was told what I was looking at and able to share it.
Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Thank you.
Isn't it beautiful?
Thank you
for the universe, and God and all of the everything, for all that energy. But anyway, that is it. That's in chapter 8, and that's one of my favorite ones. And I've got some others, but that's the one right now because I of course then watched the new Pope be ordained, or wait, that's not right. That ordained
elevated.
Elevated. Thank you for the right terminology. That I watched all that. I'm fascinated with it. I respect this all. I respect all of our ways that are true to spirit and true to ourselves.
Absolutely. My guest, Anne Bolinger-McQuade, her book, Everyday Oracles, Decoding the Divine Messages That Are All Around Us. We'll be back with more after these words on the Om Times Radio Network.
Humanity Healing International is a small nonprofit with a big dream. Since 2007, HHI has been working tirelessly to bring help to communities with little or no hope. Our projects are not broad mandates, nor are they overnight solutions, but they bring the reassurance that no one is alone and that someone cares. To learn more, please visit humanityhealing.org. Humanity Healing is where your heart is.
Imagine yourself being transported to India, to the banks of the Ganga and an ashram in Rishikesh. Visualize that you are welcome to satsang with an American sannyasi who shares the wisdom of her guru. Your visualization has manifested. Join Sattvi Bhagawati Saraswati for inspiration and transformation every Thursday at 11 a.m. Eastern on Om Times Radio.
So I'm a cat, and I just moved in with this new human, and she's got this little toy she's always playing with, all day long. Tap, 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 bloop, bloop. She can't put it down. There it is. Oh, and get this. She even talks to it. Last week, she asked it for Chinese, and guess what? Egg rolls showed up. Like magic. Humans have cool toys.
A person is the best thing to happen to a shelter pet. Be that person. Adopt. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the ShelterPetProject.org.
Are you prepared for an emergency or disaster? Because it's not a matter of if, but when. Don't find yourself saying,
I'll trust water bottles and a flashlight to save the day, but I'll be proved wrong.
With a tornado approaching, I'll realize that I lack a wheelchair-accessible shelter.
When the floodwaters rise, I'll be up in the attic with 20 cans of beans. It's a recipe for disaster.
Let's prepare so we all have a better story to tell. Get started at ready.gov/older adults. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Hi, this is Bill Maher. I can find humor in almost anything, but one thing I never laugh about is cruelty to animals. If you don't get the joke either, write People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals, 501 Front Street, Norfolk, Virginia, 23510.
Back on Destination Unlimited, my guest this week, Anne Bolinger-McQuade. Her book, everyday oracles decoding the divine messages that are all around us. And you say that we are all ultimately safer than we realize. How may we connect with that realization?
Well, I've got an everyday, we talk every day here, everyday way that a lot of us, so that if we're drivers, if you're a driver and you're driving in traffic and you can sense that somebody's going to, you don't even know it, all of a sudden you know somebody's going to turn in front of you, you pull back a little, you let them in, there's that connection. That is that energy of the personal oracle that is connecting you and saying, see, we're all connected. It's okay. So that lets you see a little bit into what's the background of what's going on. And then another example that I would love to share that, again, I'm taking from the book, and I've got photos in the book, which is when my husband Kenneth and I were driving 2 cars back from New Mexico to Arizona. He was in the lead car. We each had a dog in the car. And I had just, before we both set off, I just didn't even mention it to Kenneth, but I just said to the universe, to Spirit, to God, ask for safe journey. And so I always did that. We get in the car, we're driving, we're more than halfway back to Arizona. And I notice above Kenneth's car that there's a heart, this perfectly shaped heart in the sky above him. And Kenneth had told me earlier, please don't, he didn't even say please. Kenneth never told me what to do. Thank you, Kenneth. But he did caution me about taking photos when I was driving for the safety of it. So I tried never to do that. But this was, we were very much alone. We were on a divided highway, and that cloud just stayed and stayed and stayed. And so I got to a place, and I got an image of that cloud and a couple of others, but so it was a good 20 to 30 minute period there that went on where I followed him. There it followed him. It followed him. It was no cloud that was just floating across the sky. It was purposeful. So as we're driving along, all of a sudden his right back tire blows out, and he pulls to the side. And I realized that was the protection. That is the protection that is an example of the protection that is all around all of us, that sometimes we see it, sometimes we don't. But on beautiful times like that, when we get that little voice that says, look over here, and you may see something that has a clue to you of how you're being protected.
Absolutely. That's a wonderful share. Thank you. In Everyday Oracles, you offer several tips, tools, and exercises for tuning in to our personal oracles. Please share a couple of those with us.
Well, I got to share my favorite one. My favorite one is this. Yeah, I have done not doing as many workshops right now after COVID. That doesn't happen a lot. But I like to do this thing where, if you're gather your own body of evidence and gather your own tip for gathering your own body of evidence so that you can recognize what's going on. If something catches your attention, make a note, take a photo, take a memo, talk about what you see. If it's whatever that image is, if it's a cloud that's speaking to you, if it's the thing we talked to earlier about a rock that was the shape of a heart that you actually saw on the way to, I'm making this up right now, but on the way, as an example, on the way to an event that was a wedding, and you saw the heart, which felt to you like a good sign that they were going to be blessed in their marriage. Take a photo. Anything like that, any tiny thing, even if they're not even that big of a message, write it down. If you're at a restaurant, something happened, well, don't do it if you're at a fancy restaurant and it's a cloth napkin, but if you're at a little outdoor and you've got a little paper napkin and something happens around you and you won't think that is worth noting, that's there, it's a personal oracle that's going around you, that the universe is actively supporting someone or you, write it down. Put it in a shoebox. So I call it the sticker note shoebox method, where so that was clear, it's been around for a while. Or if you do it on your cell phone, we can do voice messages where you could very quickly record something if you can do it wherever you are. You can, of course, take a photo. You can, and this is going to lead me into something that I don't think we talked about, but when we take a photo, you may see some things you didn't even know were in your energy field, because the eyes are not designed to see everything. The camera lens is. So there's a lot. I'm going to introduce something kind of out of left field here for a minute, but there's probably people that are listening right now that have maybe gotten a picture of an orb on their camera. Get pictures of the non-visible light frequency, which is a pink frequency that shows up on a film. You get to see the extra dimensions. So those, when you start to just tune in and find ways to record what you're seeing, that's invaluable to me to do that. Also, it's what we talked about earlier, the mindset that I live in an interactive world where things are out there for me to just pay attention to that will support me. So those are like 3 quick tips.
You share, and we touched upon this in the first segment, that ultimately there is no death, simply a change of dimensions. Where do we go when our bodies no longer exist?
I don't, you know what it seems like to me? Anywhere we want, it's like, and I'm getting this from my husband, the book 3 in our currently, the ones that we have written and that are waiting to be out there, Everyday Life After Life. Kenneth is with me all the time. When his body shut down, he stayed with me. I have friends whose husbands or parents or whatever didn't stay around. I'm going to use this as an example of ideas of place. Maybe this soul, we're talking about all the different souls now instead of just the bodies. Maybe some souls are going to go back to heaven. Maybe some souls are going to go through the Buddhist philosophy of what happens there. It seems to me that it's once we're out of what we're calling our birthday suits, which is our body. Kenneth said, I wrote this down, I have to look up, I'm in my office. Kenneth equated an orb to a space suit. Kenneth was involved in the space program. Both are designed as temporary travel gear for a specific atmosphere, just as physical birthday suit is temporary travel gear for the immortal soul. So the immortal soul can be in a birthday suit, out of a birthday suit. It can, Kenneth, now that he's out of his birthday suit, he's involved with family, with friends, with a lot of different people in ways that they are photographing and measuring at the same time he's with me. So there's so much we don't understand about what happens when we are not limited to be in this birthday suit. It looks pretty exciting to me.
Absolutely.
Maybe it's our choice. It's our choice, maybe. Yeah.
Absolutely. What would you like readers to take away from Everyday Oracles?
We're all safer than we realize. We're all ultimately safer than we realize. And pay attention, and you're going to notice how and why and when. And it's the universe is specifically interacting with each individual on their own wavelength, on their own thought process and things that make sense to them. And I believe we're all in the perfect place at the right time, even when it doesn't seem like it.
That's a beautiful thought. Thank you for sharing that.
Well, thank you so much for asking.
My guest, Anne Bolinger-McQuade, her book, Everyday Oracles, Decoding the Divine Messages That Are All Around Us. And one more time, please share with our listeners where they can get your books and find out more about you and your amazing work.
I would love for you to check our new website, which is everydayextradimensions.com. And there you will find a place where you can order the book that is out, the Everyday Oracles book. And we are also on social media, and I've got a team I have not mentioned, but I've got a team of, we have 8 8 people on our team. Everybody is as enthused about all this work as I am. Some of us have been together for 20 years. So it's a real group. It's a very spirit group connection. And so you'll find us in all kinds of different places. Also, the last time I put it out, I'm going to just very quickly say the old website is still up. I've got that domain name for I've got it till 25 years, probably 20 years now. And it's oraclesinthesky.com, and it's going to present a whole bunch of other things. So just have fun, play around with these your handheld devices, and see what you can find.
And you had mentioned you have 2 new books in the works.
We do. We have Oracle cards and books. If you are, I imagine a lot of you know what Oracle cards are. These will be, of course, if you've been listening, they're Cloud Speak cards, and they're of cloud images that I've taken probably over at least 20 years, maybe 30 years. And then we have worked with Spirit to attach the image in the clouds to a concept. And so, and we've had them at a couple of book fairs lately, and they are resonating with people. People that use the Oracle cards know that they're speaking direct. This magic. It is just magical. And all Oracle cards work this way, and these do too. So you'll get the right card at the right time. So it's a book and cards. So it's everyday Cloud Speak, Oracle book and cards, and then Kenneth's book, Everyday Life After Life, documents from the engineer and his lover navigating the uncharted territory of life after life. So just keep watching. We'll try to get everything out there to all of you as you want it, and tune in. Just stay tuned.
And thank you so much for joining us and sharing this really, really wonderful, these wonderful messages that are so important in our world today. Thank you.
Oh, Victor, you are sheer joy. You're a pleasure to talk with and be with. Thank you. I hope I know you for a very long time.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you so much.
And thank you for joining us on Destination Unlimited. I'm Victor, the Voice Furman. Have a wonderful week.